Yesterday, we were introduced to the absolute value sign. Remember how yesterday, one thing I mentioned was like, let's say I have the absolute value of -8. I also said we can call this absolute value, or we can just call it the distance from zero. So the absolute value of -8, we counted the distance yesterday, and that gave us 8. The interesting though is that if I had given you the absolute value of +8, the distance from zero, it would have also given me an 8. My absolute value will always be positive, but the number from the beginning, the number to begin with, could have been positive or negative. So here, for question number 23, it says solve each equation. So I'm going to use letters, right? We're going to learn that when we don't know the value of something, we're going to replace it with a letter. So here, have the absolute value of v is equal to 7. When I say solve, I'm asking, what's the value of that letter? Now, some of you might say, well, the absolute value of 7 is 7. But some others might say the absolute value of -7 is 7, right? Absolute value, or distance from zero, it makes a number inside the bars, it makes it positive. So the number could have been 7 or -7 to begin with. So we're going to have to include both answers. Now, let's write them in order. So the smallest number first. We know that negatives are smaller than positives. So let me call this -7 and +7. I'm going to have two answers. Absolute value will give me two answers. Let's take a look at question number 24. Absolute value of A is 10. Okay, so again, thinking of the number line, here's 0. I could have gone 10 spaces to the right, so get to +10, or I could have gone 10 spaces to the left to get to -10. So my A, my number to begin with, it's either -10 or +10. Again, I'm going to include both answers. The absolute value of A equals 10. That means that A, the number inside the absolute values, was either +10 or -10 to begin with. Right? Absolute value just says make the number positive. If it's negative, make it into positive. So if it was -10, make it +10. But if it was +10 to begin with, right, we keep it positive. So we have to consider both cases. Hopefully you guys are getting the hang of it. The absolute value of x is 5. So I'm going to say, well, x, the number was either -5 to begin with, right? Because absolute value of -5 is 5. But x could have also been +5 to begin with. Again, I'm going to consider both cases. And now looking at question number 26, right? The absolute value of x is 4. So x, remember, again, I said when we don't know the value of something, we replace it with the letter. So x was a number. It was either -4 or +4. Notice again that I listed the small number first. Negatives are smaller than positives.